Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vaibhava Swamini Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vaibhava Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So now there will be quite some inquiries made by Dharma to Dhara. Dhara is earth personified and Dharma is Yamaraj. The bull. But who is Dharmaraj himself? He's going to ask those questions. Okay. Text 17. Okay, here is what the subdivision. Dharma, who is wandering in the form of bull, questions the earth in the form of a cow about the cause of the earth's current miserable condition. So in short, it is Dharma inquires from Dhara. Okay. Tasyaivam vartamanasya purveshang vrittiman vaham nati dhure kilascharyam yad asit tannibodame. Now you may hear from me of what happened not far from Maharaj Parikshit while he was passing his days hearing of the good occupations of his forefathers and being absorbed in thought of them. Text 18. Dharma padaikena charan vichayam upalabhyagam pritchati smashru vadanam vivatsam ivamataram. The personality of religious principles, Dharma, was wandering about in the form of a bull, and he met the personality of earth in the form of a cow, who appeared to grieve like a mother who had lost her child. She had tears in her eyes, and the beauty of her body was lost. Thus Dharma questioned the earth as follows. Okay, Prabhupada's purport. The bull is the emblem of the moral principle, and the cow is the representative of the earth. When the bull and the cow are in a joyful mood, it is to be understood that the people of the world are also in a joyful mood. And then, just with this statement, what is it that we can come for? What is the conclusion that we can come to? Just by reading this statement. Yeah, that's one good observation. We have to protect the cows. If we protect the cows will be happy. Then we will be happy. Then, any other statement which you can derive from this? The simple one. The converse. They are mother and fathers. That's a good point. What would be the converse of that? If the cows and bulls are not going to be happy, we are not going to be happy. Isn't it? Simple understanding from this, because they are the real mother and father and they have to be taken care nicely. Then naturally, and we can immediately see the whole world. Just look around, left, right, up and up, down. We can see why there is so much suffering, why there is so much problem, why there is so much anxiety, why there is so much tension, why there is so much diseases, or why all kinds of calamities are happening around the world. Simple answer is that the cows and bulls are not taken care. They are being mistreated, they have been harassed, and they have been put into severe anxiety. Okay. Prabhupada says, but at the present moment, in this age of Kali, both the bull and the cow are now being slaughtered and eaten up as foodstuff by a class of men who do not know the Brahminical culture. The bull and the cow can be protected for the good of all human society simply by the spreading of Brahminical culture as the topmost perfection of all cultural affairs. By advancement of such culture, the moral of society is properly maintained, and so peace and prosperity are also attained without extraneous effort. What does that mean? Extraneous effort means you simply nicely take care of the cows and bulls, feed them nicely, keep them happy, entire society will be happy. Because Krishna will be pleased for taking care of the cows and bulls nicely if they are not mistreated. When Brahminical culture deteriorates, the cow and the bull are mistreated, and the resultant actions are prominent by the following symptoms. So we will see what are those symptoms. Now another point, that when the cows and bulls are taken care of, that means that the king who is ruling is a proper person. He knows the importance of the cows and bulls. He knows all the post-consequent reactions, what is going to happen. Because the cows and bulls, when they are taken care, obviously there is a surplus supply of milk. When there is a surplus supply of milk, from the milk you can make nice yogurt, and from the yogurt you can make butter. And from the butter, and from the butter you can make ghee, and the ghee is used in the yajna, and also the milk and the yogurt and everything can be used to make wonderful preparations, and those preparations could be offered to the Lord, and we could take prasadam, and in that way ahara shuddham sattva suddhi, then our entire consciousness is purified, and we all, from being enjoyers of this, the intention or the mood that we have is to enjoy this material world, exploit this material world, dominate this material world, rather by giving ourselves, submitting ourselves to the mercy of the Lord that is coming in the form of prasadam, then what happens? Our whole attitude of trying to enjoy this material world is overpowered, or it's just carried away. It's just gone. You forget that, and then you are always thinking how to be instrument in the Lord's service, how to please the Lord, how to be dominated by the Lord. The Lord is the predominator. We are predominated. Many times Prabhupada says this. We have heard this. So that will happen. So that's why Prabhupada says, when the Brahminical culture deteriorates, the cow and bull are mistreated. So then everything becomes a mess. Now there is an interesting observation here. Not everyone could see actually this incident. This is an amazing insight that is given by Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Not everybody could see this. The bull and the cow, their conversation, and then how they were beaten up, how they were lamenting, only Parikshit Maharaj could see. How's that? Because he was so pure, he could see all the he could see the atrocities, he could see subtle things also, because a devotee is empowered by the Lord. Jnana Chakshushaha, he has eyes of knowledge, and moreover he is a devotee. The moment that Kali Yuga had started, Dharma, the earth and Kali appeared in this situation. Though this was not seen by the people, Parikshit, who meditated with a desire to see this, saw it with his mystic eyes. Dharma, in the form of a bull, asked questions to the cow who had lost her effulgence. Vichayam. Okay. Text 19. Dharma uvacha Kachid bhadre namayam atmanaste vichayasi vichayasimla yateshan mukhena alakshaye bhavatim antaradhim dure bandhum shochasi kanchanamba. So Kanchanamba is saying, oh madam, what's happening? Dharma is seen immediately. Dharma in the form of bull asks, madam, are you not hale and hearty? Why are you covered with the shadow of grief? It appears by your face that you have become black. Are you suffering from some internal disease, or are you thinking of some relative who is away in a distant place? So here Dharma is contemplating what could be the cause of your grief. And so these are all quite some logical observations. By seeing that somebody is not in a good mood, or is unhappy, is sorrow, we could immediately identify either face will be shrink, or he will be looking very depressed, or he may be suffering from some disease. So all those intelligent questions were asked by Dharma. Now let's see what Prabhupada says. The people of this world in this age of Kali are always full of anxieties. Everyone is diseased with some kind of ailment. From the very faces of the people of this age, one can find out the index of the mind. So we often hear this. Face is the index of the mind. One point is that, in this world, different people are of different natures. Okay? Different people have different natures. Some people are very extroverts, some people are very introverts. That is another thing. But to be morose is another thing. To be morose means you are not happy. Either you are hankering for sense gratification. Shochati, kankshati. Two things are there, right? You are either hankering for sense gratification, or you are frustrated, you are not getting sufficient. I mean, that's hankering, you can say. Or you are really looking for something more than your limits. I mean, in both the cases, you end up in frustration and hankering. So that is the whole point. So now, Now this is what is happening in this modern world. We hanker for something which is not actually required for us at all, and we complicate our life very miserably. Okay, that's one point. And Prabhupada further says, everyone feels the absence of his relative who is away from home. This is a problem in the modern age. We can see Prabhupada also will actually, I think the same purpose. I'll read some more and then we'll discuss about this. The particular symptom of the age of Kali is that no family is now blessed to live together. To earn a livelihood, the father lives at a place far away from the son, or the wife lives far away from the husband, and so on. There are sufferings from internal diseases, separation from those near and dear, anxieties for maintaining the status quo. These are but important factors which make the people of this age always unhappy. One amazing thing, when I was just reading this purport, for every single line, immediately in the front of the eyes, there are so many examples floating. The modern age, Prabhupada is not exaggerating one single statement. He is just presenting facts as it is. And that's what is happening in Kali Yuga. For example, now Prabhupada is saying that from the very faces of the people of this age, one can find out the index of the mind. So, yeah, we can see, there are many people, because due to bad habits, actually, somebody is very morose and looking very distressed, very unhappy. One reason is also because of the so many sinful activities this person is engaged in. Sometimes it is said that the kind of food you are eating, your face also becomes like that. It's a very clear observation. The more you eat meat and then all kinds of food, your face also becomes like that. You also become like an animal. Okay, your consciousness obviously is like that of an animal. It is shown on the face also. On the other hand, it doesn't matter what color you are, whether you may be white, completely white, you may be brown, you may be black, but the brightness comes from spiritual satisfaction. When you are satisfied internally, that brightness is reflected externally. Okay. Now that is the point. So to the degree we are purified, to that degree our purification will be reflected. So the more we are hankering for, we are having material desires, more we are trying to enjoy this material world, more we will be morose. Because that's not possible. It is not possible to be happy in this material world. The reality, the facts. So that is the problem, the whole problem with the modern thinkers is that everyone is thinking how to make life in this material world in a very comfortable, how to make life in the material world very comfortable. This is the whole point. This is what they are trying to do, which is what to say, which is like Akasha Pushpa. There is nothing like that exists of happiness in this material world, because very nature of this material world is like this. So that's one point to be understood. So obviously, lack of pure qualities, pure qualities meaning lack of Krishna consciousness, can be seen on the face of the person. That's why we have many times heard this example several times, how we can easily figure out devotees. Devotee means very blissful, very happy, very joyful. Immediately you can find him. Devotee means, the very definition is like, devotee, if he is morose, means there is some problem, there is some material hankering. Okay. Now, I'll give you live examples which my own friends and relatives have experienced. I was in touch with one of my friends who is in US. Now, both of them got married. The friend got married. And husband is in one city. Wife is in another city, which is maybe some 800 miles far away. Because she got a job in another place. He got a job in another place. Both of them, they could never be together. Maybe once in 2 months they meet. See the pathetic situation. And he cooks two days in a week. Whatever he will cook, he will put it in the fridge and then he will heat it. That's how he eats. And she also, same story. So her mother this boy's mother sometimes used to call me and ask, so did you ever speak to him? How is he doing? Like that, So very pathetic situation. So that's one thing. So that's what Prabhupada says. Everyone feels the absence of his relative who is away from home. And then Prabhupada says that, that is a kind of it's a curse in the modern days. Many times it happens, you get a job somewhere and then the family, the wife and the children cannot immediately move. Husband has to go. Wife and children will be separate for some months. And then maybe after some months he may be able to relocate, or in certain cases they will never be able to. Wife and children will be able to, I'm sending you a lot of money. To be happy with that. And sometimes you see there are some problems that happens. Wife runs away with some other husband, some other man, because for 1 year, 2 year, no association, nothing. She needs some protection. All this mess happens. That's the problem of the modern age. Okay. So then there are sufferings from internal diseases. So what the natural, why there is so much in the modern age, there is always problems of mental anxieties, depression. This depression was a word never heard before, some 20 years back, till this software industry and all this modern industry came up, when they created lots and lots of opportunities, employment opportunities abroad. Till that time there were people having diseases, all kinds of diseases were there, but this anxiety, tiredness and fatigue syndrome, I heard one fellow too much engrossed in work, so he was diagnosed for fatigue syndrome. Fatigue, fatigue is you become tired, and syndrome is a disorder, fatigue disorder. And he was given some 6 months leave. Crazy, because he works 8 days a week, although there's only 7 days in a week. Okay, so this is what Prabhupada is addressing here. And Prabhupada, in one lecture he says about child never sees the father. Remember that in lecture Prabhupada says, by the time the child goes to sleep, the father, or we can put it the other way around. When the child wakes up, the father already has left for the job. And by the time the father comes back, the child has already slept. So one child, who is my father? The child is asking, who is my father? Doesn't know who is his father. Unfortunate situation of the modern world. Pathetic situation. But to maintain status quo, to maintain prestige, to maintain big bank balance, to maintain assets, people are they don't know what they are doing. They are actually thinking they are actually doing welfare to the family, but it's only they are creating havoc to the family members. So even I'm just saying some 10-15 years back also, there are families used to be together. Okay, you can see father, mother, maybe 2 or 3 kids, every one of them in the evening. Family life means what? There is some enjoyment. They are saying, what is there? Everybody is together, everybody is chatting, everybody is eating, I'm speaking from a material perspective, completely material perspective. There is some happiness, although we understand there is no happiness, it's all temporary. But that much also is not to be seen in the modern days. Now everybody, when they want to speak, how do they speak? They are on WhatsApp, they are on chat. Father says, our mother says, and son is somewhere. Now we can, how many times, like other day we heard, there is a Green Park Matriculation School in Namakkal. The son is father, parents are somewhere in the corner of in Chennai city. The boy is put in a hostel. And for years, one of our devotee, I would say, I not mention the name, one of our devotee, before joining our ashram, he said, at least he was from, I think from 4th standard to second year college, all through his life, he spent most of his time only in the hostel. Hardly he would have spent some time with the parents. And we can see the devotee is very, is a total introvert, doesn't talk much to others. It could have impact. Children can have impact when they are not sufficiently, that feelings of affection and the feelings of taking care and good, thoughtful, when they don't hear thoughtful speech, very good advice, engagement in devotions, all those things, when this is not exposed for children, they will have problems. So that's why Prabhupada also elsewhere in another place is saying, when the parents are not properly training, they themselves, if they do not set good examples, number one, and if they do not pay sufficient time for the children will have adverse effect on the children. So these are all the problems of the modern age. Okay, let's go to text 20. Padairnyunam shochasi maikapadam atmanam va vrishalair boksyamanam aho suradhin nrutayagnya bhagan praja utasvin magavatya varshati. It's again an important verse. I have lost 3 of my legs and I am standing on one only. Are you lamenting for my state of existence? Or are you in great anxiety because henceforward the unlawful meat eaters will exploit you? Or are you in a sorry plight because the demigods are now bereft of their share of sacrificial offerings because no sacrifices are being performed at present? Or are you grieving for the living beings because of their sufferings due to famine and drought? Very pertinent questions he has asked. Now, Prabhupada is a very elaborate purport. We will see certain sections of it. There are gradations of human beings in terms of proportionate faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the human beings can be classified in according to what the human beings are classified? Faith on the Lord. Okay. So that's why we can also see the gradations in the humans also is made based on. There's a nice definition Baladev Vidyabhushana Prabhu is giving in his, I think it is from Prameya Ratna. He says, Haricharana Dushas Tara Tamyam Cha Tesham. Based on the consciousness, there are gradations, and consciousness is defined based on what? How much the soul has come closer to the lotus feet of the Lord. Haricharana. How much he has come close. Okay. So Taratamyam, the gradations are based on that. Now Prabhupada is elaborating. There are gradations of human beings in terms of proportionate faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The first class faithful men are the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas. Then the Kshatriyas, then the Vaishyas, then the Shudras, then the Mlechas, the Yavanas, and at last the Chandalas. The degradation of the human instinct begins from the Mlechas and the Chandala state of life. And the Chandala state of life is the last word in human degradation. All the above terms mentioned in the Vedic literatures are never meant for any particular community or birth. So what does it mean? It's not based on birth, just based on birth. What kind of activities you are performing, what kind of association you are having, based on that, everything, the gradations are happening. There are different qualifications of human beings in general. There is no question of birthright or community. One can acquire the respective qualifications by one's own efforts. And thus the son of a Vaishnava can become a Mlecha, or the son of a Chandala can become more than a Brahmana. All in terms of their association and intimate relation with the Supreme Lord. Okay, this we have discussed many times. Now, Prabhupada, he further says, the meat eaters are generally called Mlechas, but all meat eaters are not Mlechas. Those who accept meat in terms of scriptural injunctions are not Mlechas, but those who accept meat without restriction are called Mlechas. Now, we may not even discuss much about this, because who is following any scriptural injunction? They will have a big slaughterhouse in the name of some demigod, in the name of Vishnu, or they will have big slaughterhouse. I heard from one of our friends that I think in Pune or somewhere, they were trying to open a very big slaughterhouse, like a very professional slaughterhouse, like kind of an industry for meat manufacturing in one area. So they were trying to get a land. Somehow or other, there were some pious people in that local area. They really fought. They fought, and then they said, we don't want. So this is the problem, when the mentality of people are there to promote all this kind of meat products, and there are always some people who will make money out of it, and they will try to exploit some people and they'll make the land. Anyway, these things are happening in so many places. So this is the pathetic situation of the Kali Yuga. Okay, Prabhupada says, beef is forbidden in the scriptures, and the bulls and cows are offered special protection by followers of the Vedas. But in this age of Kali, people will exploit the body of the bull and the cow as they like, and thus they will invite sufferings of various types. I was just hearing one lecture of Srila Prabhupada. Probably this lecture was given in 1970s. Okay, in 1970s, Prabhupada is saying that close to 10,000 cows are being slaughtered. He's saying in India. 1970s. So now, what is happening? There's a big statistics. Every third second, one cow is killed in India. What to speak of other countries? And also there are so many people who are promoting the eating of beef. Even today, what is this? 2021. 29th April, time is 10:31. Still, there are some areas where cow slaughter doesn't happen. There are some areas, and officially they don't sell the beef in some places. Of course, Kerala and some other states, they don't have any problem. They sell it. But soon, the more the people are atheistic, the more the leaders have become atheistic. You will see officially everywhere they will just sell it. They will sell it, they will promote it, and there will be advertisements also, and it will become a common thing. Just to mention a few things. Did anybody ever imagine that there is going to be abortion clinics in India? Anybody? So let's say 20 years back, abortion, there were many people who were pious, even doctors were hesitant to do abortion. But now it has become a normal thing. Okay? And this homosexuality, who many people had no clue of homosexuality also. Now there are films coming up. It is officially accepted. It is legal. In fact, if somebody speaks so much against homosexuality, you may be arrested also. So it was all happening in the West. Now things have gradually become normal in India. You know about that, right? Some 6 months or 1 year back, there was a big Supreme Court gave a big announcement in India that their rights has to be considered. They have to be they have to be treated properly. So many different conclusions were read by the High Court judge, and there was some commotion here and there, but then and later it became a normal thing. So why the point that I'm trying to say is, this is the symptoms of Kali Yuga. All those things are becoming normal because we have a great mission. ISKCON, we being the members of ISKCON, we have a great mission to play. We have a great responsibility in the society to stop this atheism being spread, and that is possible only by spreading Krishna consciousness. Okay, we'll come back to the subject matter. Okay. Now Prabhupada is speaking about further in the purport. Srila Prabhupada is here. The Dharma is asking a question to the cow. Dharani, he is asking, are you worried because there will not be any more proper sacrificial offering to the demigods? So in that, keeping that in context, Prabhupada is addressing an important point, how important it is to perform yajnas. Okay, forget about performing yajna to please Vishnu. That yajna means yajna by Vishnu, to please him. But the current trend of the people is gradually they are atheistic. They don't want to believe in anything. They don't want to believe in any authority. Whatever the mind says, you do. So that is the source of all sinful activities. Now, even if you accept the authority of demigods, or if you accept if there is little faith in some part of the Vedas, that means you are immediately somehow or other coming into some regulation. Right? Even when you perform karma kandya sacrifice, that means you have to follow some rules and regulations. When there is some rules and regulations being followed, there is some discipline. Which means always what the Vedas are doing, Vedas are helping people to somehow or other stick to dharma and not engage in sinful activity. This much, at least, you are being protected. But when this is completely gone, when this has become topsy-turvy, it's all completely blasted out, then what is left is only sinful creation. So, you see Prabhupada's purport here, very nicely is addressing, he's explaining the point. Okay, I'm just going to read the particular section, please pay attention. The system is that living beings live on the produce of grains and vegetables, and by eating such foodstuff, they get vital power of the body in the shape of blood and semen. And from blood and semen, one living being is able to create other living beings. But the production of grains, grass, etc. becomes possible by rain. And this rain is made to shower properly by the performance of recommended sacrifices. Such sacrifices are directed by the rites of the Vedas, namely Sama, Yajur, Rig and Atharva. In the Manusmriti, it is recommended that by offerings of sacrifice on the altar of the fire, the sun god is pleased. When the sun god is pleased, he properly collects water from the sea, and thus sufficient clouds collect on the horizon and rain falls. After sufficient rain falls, there is sufficient production of food grain for all men and animals. Thus, there is energy in the living beings for progressive activity. You see the flow, how important it is to accept the authority of a superior. And by following that, at least you are able to take the material needs are taken care. Okay. Next, Prabhupada is pointing out. But they must know that for the animals they must produce grass, and that for themselves they must produce vegetables, because they cannot live on animal food alone. And to produce grass and vegetables, they require sufficient rain. Therefore, they have to depend ultimately on the mercy of the demigods like the sun god, Indra and Chandra. And such demigods must be satisfied by performance of sacrifice. So Prabhupada is again very strongly establishing the point that sacrifice is required. You can't, the modern day people have no clue, because they have become too atheistic. So they have completely rejected any kind of sacrifice. So now see some more points in the purport. Prabhupada is pointing out. For the devotees, there is no need of performance. There is no need for performance of prescribed sacrifices, because the very life of the devotee is a symbol of sacrifice. That's how a devotee should be. His life is full of sacrifice. That means what? His life is meant for pleasing Krishna. So that's why he doesn't do anything for his own pleasure. But persons who are engaged in fruitive activities for sense enjoyment must perform the prescribed sacrifices, because that is the only means to get free from the reaction of all sins committed by fruitive workers. Sacrifice is a means for counteracting such accumulated sins. The demigods are pleased when such sacrifices are performed. So then Prabhupada further he continues to speak about it, and then he says that what is the greatest sacrifice that has to be performed in this modern age? Sankirtana Yajna. So Lord Chaitanya introduced the Sankirtana Yajna that has to be performed. Okay. Now I'm just reading a small excerpt from a lecture by Srila Prabhupada. Here he gives again, he's again speaking about the gradations. See how nicely he presents. He says, Mlecha, this word, Yavana, these, there are words in Vedic language. Mlecha, Yavana. Yavana means meat eaters. Yavana. It does not mean only Europeans are Yavana and Americans not. Indians are not Yavana. No. Anyone who eats meat is a Yavana. So there are many Indians who will fall in this category. Yavana means meat eater, and Mlecha means unclean. One who does not follow Vedic principles, he is called Mlecha. Just like as the Mohammedans say, Kafir. One who does not follow Muslim religion, they are called Kafir. That is religion point of view. And the Christians say heathens. One who does not follow Christian religion, they are called heathens. Is it not? Similarly, anyone who does not follow Vedic principle is called Mlecha. So time will come when nobody will follow Vedic principles of life. Therefore, Mlecha. So Prabhupada speaks about this is a lecture Prabhupada gave in 1974, January 23, the same shloka. Okay, so these are the points. So that's why the what do you call Dharma very nicely he has posed these questions, and you can see also one more thing. Are you worried that I am standing on only one leg? So three pillars of Dharma are broken. So the bull is standing only on one leg. That is on truthfulness. We will discuss a little bit about truthfulness when it comes to the quality of truthfulness. But I'll just say that what is that? Shouts of cleanliness, and then austerity, then daya, compassion. All those things are gone. Kali Yuga, all those things are gone. And truthfulness also is it's very shaky. There are some people who are really truthful, and you see the entire world population, you see a very small percentage of devotees, and they are those people who carry the pillars of Dharma. Okay. Text 21. Arakshyamanā striya urvibhalan shochasyato purushadhair ivartan vachang deving brahma kule kukarmani abbrahmanye rajakule kulagriyan. Now here he is speaking about the protection that is not properly rendered to the children and women. Okay. Arakshyamanam. Are you feeling sorry for the unhappy women and children who are left forlorn by unscrupulous persons? Or are you unhappy because the goddess of learning is being handled by Brahmanas, addicted to acts against the principles of religion? Then, or are you sorry to see that the Brahmanas have taken shelter of administrative families that do not respect Brahminical culture? Now, in the last 2-3 verses, what are we seeing? Can anybody really focus and tell me what is it that we are seeing?
All the
Uh,
symptoms of pain.
yes,
All the symptoms of pain.
yes, correct. What do you said?
Dharma is asking about
Yeah. So this,
reason of grief.
why? Yeah, that's true. So this is the main essential point I was looking for. Now, all the symptoms of Kali Yuga is being identified. Dharma is identifying all those things. He's looking at the cow. He's saying, "Oh, the symptoms are listing." He's listing all the symptoms. So that's what we are saying. Now, Prabhupada is pointing out there. Now, this is again a very important point in this discussion. Unprotected women. What is how the society is going to be degraded? Because arakshamana, when the women are not protected, what are going to be the post consequences of that? Okay, let's see what Prabhupada is saying. In this age, illicit connections with women will render many women and children uncared for. Circumstantially, the women will try to become independent of the protection of men, and marriage will be performed as a matter of formal agreement between man and woman. Do you remember an important point from Bhishma's teachings? What do you say? What he says? Speak. What he says about the shyness? What Prabhupada very nicely points out one important, very important.
Gives commands respect.
Okay. What is? I'm looking for Prabhupada's words. Very nicely he says.
Protects the woman.
Yeah, all those things are nice. Very nice. That's a point. Yes, shyness is the most key thing. You know, he speaks about the wall. You know that if the shyness is not exhibited in the women, then what happens? The society becomes polluted. No, like you have this valve, no? Like you have a gas, and when you just open it, then there is more gas comes, and when you close it, it is closed. So like if the shyness valve, if it is not properly handled, then there will be all. What is the net result? Varna Shankar, correct? It will be very terrible. Okay. Marriage will be performed as a matter of formal agreement between man and woman. So that we were just recently hearing about how they are now having agreements for marriage. Previously, it was based on mutual love, based on respect and love. The agreements were there, but now everything is on paper. And then also, what will happen if our agreements are not taken care? What will be the net result? Then there will be divorce. Divorce means how much money the women will get. And also, we were discussing about how. Just to brief, how the laws, government laws are very much in favor of the women. If the women are mishandled or there is some mess that happens, if they file a case, there is going to be divorce. Then the man has to pay a huge amount, not only just at the time of splitting, but on a monthly basis also he has to give a huge amount. So divorce laws are very dangerous. There is no concept of divorce. All these things came later. Well, these things could be discussed a lot, but at least we need to know that this whole idea of divorce is very dangerous, because women needs to be protected all the time. Women needs to be protected when they are as a child by the father, and when they are married by the husband, and when they become elder, they have to be taken care by the son. They should never be left alone. Now that is one point Prabhupada is addressing. Now Srila Prabhupada is speaking about the Brahmanas are traditionally intelligent men, and thus they will be able to pick up modern education to the topmost rank. But as far as moral and religious principles are concerned, they shall be the most fallen. Education and bad character go ill together. But such things will run parallel. The interesting one from Prabhupada, Prabhupada's statement. Education and bad character go ill together. No, many times we are hearing, no. There are so many people you can see in the modern age. Somehow or other, because of some sukriti from the previous lives, they have sharp intelligence, they have good memory, they can pick up things quickly, the so-called Brahmanas. But unfortunately, because of lack of training, and the goal of life is not properly set because of bad association, and everything is driven based on how to have bigger economical growth. That has been the main motto. That's why you see most of the bright people belonging to the Smartha or the Sri Vaishnava or the Madhva community, Many bright people, where they are? In the Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is a place in the US, California. I mean, and there are so many other places. Many Brahmins you can see. Not that everybody is completely rotten, but most of them are. That's because what do you expect? You go to a place where there are meat eaters, where the culture is drinking wine, everything is free sex, everything is just open. And when you associate with such kind of people, this is what you're going to pick up. So that's how you can see in Microsoft, Intel, very big companies. There are so many Brahmins who are working, so-called Brahmins. But in terms of culture, as Prabhupada exactly points out here, they are in topmost rank, but in terms of culture, they have lost everything. That is because of lack of moral and religious principles. In this regard, just an info message for you. You could hear a lecture called "The Message to the Brahmanas" by Bhakti-vaibhava Course. Very nicely is addressing what are the problems of the modern age, specifically those who are from the Brahminical community, and how they can revive their traditional culture, not be part of the Kali infected age. Okay. Even a philosopher and writer of many books on religious principles may also accept an exalted post in a government which denies all the moral codes of the Shastras. The Brahmanas are specifically restricted from accepting such service. But in this age, they will not only accept service, but they will do so even if it is of the meanest quality. These are some of the symptoms of the Kali age, which are harmful to the general welfare of the human society. Now, what is the problem? Even, see, there were other day, the last class we heard that the Brahmanas, they were not, they will not salute anyone, they will only bow down to Vishnu. They will always speak whatever that is mentioned in the Shastras. They were very pure. They will not change the Shastras according to the whims and fancies of some leader who has some hidden agenda. You understand what I'm saying? Hidden agenda means you have something to establish. Now to support, you need some Shastric reference. So they'll ask the Brahmanas to manipulate. And if a Brahmana he is completely dependent on this leader, he will just say, there is one, okay, I'm just explaining you something. Just it reminds me of something. Have you seen, nowadays that's also, it's so unfortunate, to give examples also it's so difficult. I will tell you, in traditional marriages, because that's so many people remember, in the Carnatic music, there is something called Nadaswaram and Taval. Have you heard of this? I'm sure some of you might have known. It's a very traditional art. It's the two instruments that's being played, and it's for very Carnatic music. Everything is done. Specifically during marriage, at the time of the what do you call this? Mangal Sutra. In the time of Mangal Sutra, the Taval wala will play heavy beats, and another song will play everything. So to maintain to give a big background, just to explain one point, there is to maintain the tempo and the beat. There is one. There will be one person who will be sitting. He'll have something like kartal. Okay, say if it's an adi talam, there are 8 beats will be maintained. So at exactly the 4th beat, ting chak. That is one. He will do. The kartal will be played exactly. So he will follow, or he will set the tempo like that. So ching chak means just or when he does this, everyone has to follow the beat, so that everything is in line. Okay. So why I gave an example is that, so these kind of Brahmanas, they, although they may know what is true, what is not true, but money is the main criteria for them, or because their boss is such and such, and for him they will even make astrological adjustments. They will change the philosophy, anything they will do for him. Immediately, whom we can remember? And we just Bhagavatam, anybody can remember? Immediately. Shukracharya, yes. Another quick example that I could remember is Shanda and Amarka. They are Shukracharya's sons. Correct? Yeah. Parampara. So Shanda and Amarka were like that, they were teaching all kinds of nonsense to Prahlad. Anyway, so there are still many who are in that parampara. But even today there are hardly we can see such people. But here Prabhupada is addressing one very important point. They are saying that they may take any role. So that's why you see there are two things of it. One is because so many politics, so many things happened because the Brahmanas were not sufficiently taken care, and they also got corrupted, and they were ready to get into any kind of job. They started getting, for them, roti, kapda, makan. What is that? Food, shelter, and place to stay. Food, shelter, and clothing, right? So this is what was has become primary important thing, and for that they will do anything. So that's everything got degraded. This is the point. So Kali Yuga Brahmana means like that. So that's the point. So when you start serving, you remember what from Chaitanya Charitamrita also. What do we remember? When you become a slave of a meat eater, you will also become like that, right? What is happening? So why there are so many Indians who are in the US? Some of them they're making money. Okay, they settle down there. Okay, very nice. I'll just lead a happy life there. But what about culture? There are many of the children, they do not know what is Ramayana, what is Mahabharata. They do not know many basic things, but their English may be very good. What are you going to do with death? At the time of death, your English is not going to help you, right? Child may speak very good English, but along with the English, it is going to develop all kinds. He or she is going to develop all kinds of Western culture, which is going to ruin their life. That's what is happening. Thanks to ISKCON, we could say. There are many people, some of them, they have become devotees because they are out of touch with all the relatives. Somehow they came in touch with ISKCON, met many of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and they took. So by serving, this is the whole point. By serving the great, you become great. But by serving the fallen, you become fallen. What did Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami say when they presented themselves to Chaitanya? Wake up. Give me some answers. What did they say when they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Okay, that's fine. But what is it that the main point? What is it that they were projecting about themselves?
People themselves said that we are
What?
Panditas, but actually we are fools.
We are fools. Okay. Can you relate to this context? What I'm looking for. See, they were saying we were under the regime of the Muslims. Nawab Hussain. We are working under. We are gone. We are worse than lechas, like that they were saying, because we are working under them. We have lost all our credibility. Nothing. You know what? This is the point. Although they are pure devotees, they are not subjugated to that. But this is what they are presenting. So that's the point that we are trying to say, that if you work under some Mlecha, then you become Mlecha also. This is the whole point. So that's what Prabhupada is talking here. No? Brahmanas are specifically restricted from accepting such service, but in this age, they will not only accept service, but they will do so even if it is of the meanest quality. It's interesting. My question is, what is the name of the modern religion? Modern religion, the name is called sense gratification. This is what modern religion is all about. I think once His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he was introducing. There were some people from this Oscar winning movies. There are some directors and there are some producers. So our devotees were trying to do some performance, so that gradually, performance means some musical performance they were trying to do, and there was one person who was saying that we will guide you. We will guide you to act in such a way that your performance will be taken very seriously. So there were devotees one or two times they were trying to do some. They were practicing on stage. Then later devotees said that what is this? We will just sing Hare Krishna. Normally, however we will sing. We are not going to be part of this program. All the devotees had initial idea to promote this. Promote ISKCON. So they were trying like that. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was there. He understood the whole thing. That we are not going to be part of that program, and they are not going to buy us. We will just be whatever Hare Krishna. So there was some introduction he was giving about some leaders. So he was introducing. Here is Mr. Muda Godas. He said Muda Godas. He was introducing like that. They didn't know what he is talking about. We know what is Mr. Muda Godas means. They are servants of the senses and they are fools. So my point is the modern day religion is just completely only sense gratification. Text 22. King Kshatrabandhun kalinopasrashtan rashtrani vatair avaropitani itastato vashana panavasah snana vyavayon jiva lokam. The so-called administrators are now bewildered by the influence of this age of Kali, and thus they have put all state affairs into disorder. Are you now lamenting this disorder? Now the general populace does not follow the rules and regulations for eating, sleeping, drinking, mating, etc. And they are happy inclined to perform such anywhere and everywhere. Are you unhappy because of this? Yeah, this amazing thing Prabhupada immediately addresses in the purport. Now, because of the cultural degradation, the man has become an animal. So Prabhupada immediately compares. A dog can mate with a bitch before the public eyes without hesitation. But if a human being does so, the act will be considered a public nuisance and the person will be criminally prosecuted. Therefore, for the human being, there are some rules and regulations. Even for fulfilling common demands, the human society avoids such rules and regulations when it is bewildered by the influence of the age of Kali. So it's very unfortunate that there are, when you go to the cities, there's something called pubs. Pubs are with big bars. People come in and drink wine. And in India, these things are not common. But in the West, there are something called strip dances and so many things. Strip dances means, they strip you. Strip you means people like to see the opposite sex naked. Prabhupada also, remember there was one lecture or one conversation, Srila Prabhupada saying that we saw in France, the elder gentlemen, they are, spending so much money all the way, they're going to these kind of clubs. So Prabhupada was very disgusted. He said that this is how the modern age, the deterioration, the effect of Kali. This was the effect of Kali. And one incident Prabhupada says that, so that's why we say, we can sometimes, many times we can see Prabhupada will not ask people to immediately to chant. He will discuss philosophy. He will just discuss philosophy and then he will say, please read the books. Like that he will push. But there are some situations where Prabhupada will say, you just come. He will say, so much, the modern day people they are engrossed in so much sinful activity. You just come and take association of devotees, sing Hare Krishna and take prasadam. Then later we will discuss Bhagavatam, Prabhupada will say. Yesterday I read one conversation. Prabhupada very clearly speaks about it. In one lecture he says that, because he makes a point. He says that people have to be purified, he says. They have to take association of devotees and then just simply sing and dance. The more they sing and dance, then the polluted mind will be purified. Then they will be ready to hear Krishna conscious philosophy. So both the things are there. Okay. Let's see what Prabhupada has got to say here. See his vision, very amazing points he's presenting. In this age, the fathers and the guardians are not happy with the behavior of their wards. They should know that so many innocent children are victims of bad association avoided by the influence of this age of Kali. We know from Srimad Bhagavatam that Ajamila, an innocent son of a Brahmana, was walking down a road and saw a Shudra pair sexually embracing. This attracted the boy, and later on the boy became a victim of all debaucheries. From a pure Brahmana, he fell down to the position of a wretched urchin, and it was all due to bad association. There was but one victim like Ajamila in those days. But in this age of Kali, the poor innocent students are daily victims of cinema shows which attract men only for sex indulgence. The so-called administrators are all untrained in the affairs of a Kshatriya. Kshatriyas are meant for administration, as the Brahmanas are meant for knowledge and guidance. Okay, we will get into this Kshatrabandhu later. So this is the poor state of affairs in the modern age. Many of the parents are having great challenges. Facebook, WhatsApp, so many medias are just spread and they're very difficult. Everybody's with a smartphone. Uncontrollable. Things are. Pornography has become a major problem in the modern days. Children are exposed. The college students are exposed. Everyone is addicted. So what to do? So that's what Prabhupada is saying. There was only one Ajamila at the time, but now the situation is so bad. We can see sometimes, from the schools and specifically from schools, we can see they will be coming for a one-day visit to some spiritual place. In one ISKCON center, they brought say some 700 students, I think. And the reason when the local leader was asking, why you brought so many students? I mean, what's the impetus or what's the inspiration behind bringing them here? So these boys and girls here, they become intolerable. They are into so many nonsense things they're doing. We thought at least one day they come to some spiritual place, they will get some benefit. So and in the name of secularism, they don't teach any moral values. Moral values means even some basic good habits, and then on top of that, more than all those things, connecting themselves to God, teachings of Bhagavad Gita. There is nothing, hardly anything is happening. So how do you expect any kind of sanity happening in a society? Only it will be a mess. When they go home, what they do? They all have smartphones with them. The mother and father, they don't have any time to spend with them. All their companion, mother, father, everything is laptops and all these gadgets. So in that way, actually, those who get the training right from young age are very fortunate, and once by that training, if they mature and they understand, they could see things in right perspective. That is the success of our program. Success of Gurukula happens when the students, when they join at young age, say 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, up to 18 years, 20 years, 23 years, 24 years, when they go out, when they see the outside world, when they interact with the outside world, and they still remain as preachers, they have understood the mood of why this moment is there. And they preach this message with quite some proper understanding. Then whatever knowledge, so far many things will remain as theory only. Many things, whatever that we are studying, of course, someone may get good realization, but that we will see in practice when you are in real time situations, how you are responding to in the outside world, how you are responding, how you are interacting, what is your goal, what is your intensity, what are your real intentions. Everything will be tested at that time. So that will be the acid test. But whatever that we are doing, it's not that we should not. This theory is required, but that's why we very much require to go out, distribute books, meet people, speak, preach, see the reality of how people are suffering in the material world. Then we will be able to appreciate what we are doing. Otherwise, everything again becomes just a ritualistic program. Okay, let's get it. The Kshatriyas are meant for administration, as the Brahmanas are meant for knowledge and guidance. The word Kshatrabandhu refers to the so-called administrators or persons promoted to the post of administrator without proper training by culture and tradition. Nowadays, they are promoted to such exalted posts by the words of the people who are themselves fallen in the rules and regulations of life. How can such people select a proper man when they are themselves fallen in the standards of life? Can you imagine now the voting power you get from the age of 18. If you are 18, you are an adult. What he knows about the world? Tomorrow you and me are asked to go and vote. What do you know? This is the path that Prabhupada exactly is pointing out, because the fallen people are voting, and whom they will select? They will select another fallen person. Okay. Text 23. Yadvambate bhuri bharavatara kritaavatarasya haredharitri antarhitasya smarati visrishta karmani nirvana vilambitani. Text 23. O Mother Earth, the Supreme Person of God, Hari incarnated himself as Lord Sri Krishna just to unload your heavy burden. All his activities here are transcendental, and they cement the path of liberation. You are now bereft of his presence. You are probably now thinking of those activities and feeling sorry in their absence. This is another nice reason he is pointing out. Or are you feeling really pained because of whatever reasons I told you before? Or also could be another possible reason, because the Supreme Lord has left this world. Supreme Lord has left this world, and as a result of it, you are more thinking about him. And so far, you never felt this earth to be a burden, but now you are finding it as a heavy burden. In fact, Krishna came for what? To reducing the burden. But now you are really feeling the burden because of his absence. Okay. Here Prabhupada is making one nice statement. Prabhupada is saying that simply by remembering such activities means what? Which activities? Krishna's wonderful activities. One can defy the pleasure derived from nirvana and reach the transcendental abode of the Lord to associate with Him, eternally engaged in His blissful service. So there is, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. By tapasya, one is trying to endeavor to attain liberation. But here, Prabhupada is pointing out that simply by engaging in Krishna's service or by remembering about Krishna's activities, one can transcend the modes and go back to one. Okay. Text 24. Idam mama chakshvatavadi moolam vasundhare yena vikarshitasim kalena vate balinang bhaliyasa surarchitam king hrutamamba saubhagam. Mother, you are the reservoir of all riches. Please inform me of the root cause of tribulations by which you have been reduced to such a weak state. I think that the powerful influence of time, which conquers the most powerful, might have forcibly taken away all your fortune, which was adored even by the demigods. Now, the next theme is beginning here. Actually, now Dharani, the mother earth, she acknowledges the point that Dharma had spoken in these two verses, the previous verses also. And she gives both the reason. Yes, the reason is the separation from Krishna, feeling it as a heavy burden, and also the Kali's influence. Both the things are put me into such a sorry state of affairs. So now, so that's why we have written. The earth replies that her misery is caused by a separation from Krishna's presence and by an increase of Kali's influence due to Krishna's absence. Right? Maharaj Parishit then arrives. So these are all the events. The next 10 verses we are going to see. So in a short, I just made like Dharani replies about pain of separation from Krishna and Kali's influence. Okay. Dharanyuvacha, text 25. Bhavan hi vedat tat sarvam yanman dharmanu pruchasi chaturbhir vartase yena padair lokas sukavahaihi. The earthly deity in the form of a cow thus replied to the personality of religious principles in the form of a bull. Oh, just one side point, I missed to say this. You see, Prabhupada in one of the lectures in this series, he makes an amazing point. He says that, see, bull is addressing the cow as what? Mother. And he's also pointing out that the cow is crying. He says that what a foolishness to say that animals do not have soul. In one lecture, he just bangs this point that how do you say animal does not have a soul? Then he speaks about the symptoms of consciousness, thinking, feeling, willing, and you can see the cow crying, heavy sound. There is a heavy sound from the cow. Then he speaks about the new Vrindavan temple. When they got some cows, they purchased some cows. When they purchased a cow, he was very specific about one cow. He said one cow was crying like anything. And then he says that, you see, the cow does not have a soul. You can physically see it is crying. Why it is crying? They said that the cow's calf was either butchered or they sold it. And when the cow came to our farm, it came without her daughter. You understand? So Prabhupada is very much insistent. He said that what a foolishness to say. Probably before that, or I don't know when, maybe before that, he might have met Professor Kotowski, who was saying, that famous argument. Prabhupada had the conversation wherein Kotowski doesn't even know, he's a big teacher of a religion. He doesn't even know that the animals have soul. Anyway, that's the sorry side of affairs. Okay. O Dharma, whatever you have inquired from me is already known to you. Yet I shall try to reply to all those questions. Once you too were maintained by your four legs, and you increased happiness all over the universe by the mercy of the Lord. The principles of religion are laid down by the Lord Himself, and the executor of such laws is Dharma Raja or Yamaraja. Such principles work fully in the age of Satya Yuga. In the Treta Yuga, they are reduced by a fraction of 1/4. You remember the other day we were discussing, it's mentioned in one of the purport. And in the Dwapara Yuga, they are reduced to 1/2. And in the Kali Yuga, they are reduced to 1/4. Gradually diminishing to the 0 point. Then devastation takes place. Okay. Now, we will see that there are certain qualities which Mother Earth is explaining, and these qualities are how to say, these qualities are present in the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So the Lord is so glorious, He is so wonderful, His qualities are amazing. What are all the great qualities? These qualities we can find in the Supreme Lord, and we can understand these qualities are missing in the human beings now because the Lord has left and Kali has entered. This is what she is pointing out. So what I am going to do is, I am just going to go get directly into the translation. No, it's a long verse, so I am just going to get into translation, and we will see here and there some qualities. We may not get into all the qualities, but few qualities and some of the amazing points that Prabhupada has spoken in one of the lecture. So we have some extracts from that. We will also go through that. Okay. In Him reside truthfulness, cleanliness, intolerance of others, unhappiness, the power to control anger, self-satisfaction, straightforwardness, steadiness of mind, control of the sense organs, responsibility, equality, tolerance, equanimity, faithfulness, knowledge, absence of sense enjoyment, leadership, chivalry, influence, the power to make everything possible, the discharge of proper duty, complete independence, dexterity, fullness of all beauty, serenity, kind-heartedness, ingenuity, gentility, magnanimity, determination, perfection in all knowledge, proper execution, possession of all objects of enjoyment, joyfulness, immovability, fidelity, fame, being worshipable, pridelessness, being the personality of Godhead, eternity, and many other transcendental qualities which are eternally present and never to be separated from Him. That personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all goodness and beauty, Lord Sri Krishna, has now closed His transcendental pastimes on the face of the earth. In His absence, the age of Kali has spread its influence everywhere. So I am sorry to see this condition of existence. Now, all these amazing qualities are mentioned here. Now, Prabhupada in the purport, he points out about intolerance. Let's read that. But even if it is so, the above statement of the qualities of the Lord is just to estimate His qualities as far as human being is able to see them in Him. So that means what? The Lord has got unlimited qualities. So, and Prabhupada mentions that even Anantadev cannot expound it properly with his millions and millions of mouths. But some 40 qualities are listed here. These are some of the qualities that human beings could see. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the third quality, intolerance of others' unhappiness, can be subdivided into two. What is the Sanskrit? Intolerance of others' unhappiness. Yeah, I'm just saying about the qualities from the listed here. Take up, I'm just making you to look into something so that you will be awake. Shanti? What's that?
Shanti.
Correct? Okay. So, Srila Jiva Goswami has divided this into two. Protection of the Daya and Shanti, both are being discussed. No, there are Daya and Seva. There are two discussions about Daya and Seva. We will discuss about that. Shanti, Daya is being compassionate also. Well, there are a couple of things Robert discussing in the purport also.
What the translation of Daya? Intolerance of
Shanti properly translates it as self-control, truthfulness, cleanliness, and Daya, intolerance of others. Yeah, others' unhappiness. Yeah, there is one other point why I just acknowledge that we will see in one of the lecture Prabhupada is discussing about the Shanti and Daya. Okay, we will come to that. Okay. Protection of the surrendered souls, good wishes for the devotees. Two things Srila Jiva Goswami is pointing out. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord states that He wants every soul to surrender unto Him only, and He assures everyone that if one does so, He will give protection from the reactions of all sins. Okay. So the Lord is again His great compassion is being explained. Then also further in the purport Prabhupada talks about how the Lord takes responsibility as a Kshatriya, how he protects everyone, and all the different qualities are mentioned. Now we are just going to one point we should not forget. These qualities which are mentioned here can be seen in a devotee also. How it is being seen devotee, we discussed last class also, because of his great attitude of taking full shelter of the Lord. Sharanagati, no, by his, that one quality, all other qualities he can manifest. Okay, now I'm just directly going to move to Prabhupada's lecture on some of the qualities he's discussing, so let's pay attention to that. Now Prabhupada, he hears about all these qualities and Prabhupada is speaking. These things are all mentioned, how the human society can be peaceful and progressive. These are the qualifications. Not like animal like jumping all day and night. Here in Hawaii, we see the children and elderly person also, the whole day and night simply jumping in the sea. Someone is also, someone is swimming, somebody is doing something else, somebody is something. How they are wasting time, but they have taken, this is civilization. This is civilization. One famous thing, you remember in Hawaii only, I think Prabhupada said, because Hawaii is also, because of the seashore, they are very famous to do this, what do you call? Surfing, yes. So they were, everybody will have this surfing tool. They have one big, what do you call it? I'm not, some kind of a kit, that wherein you can do the surfing, along with the wave, you just go. So Prabhupada was making a mockery that, why so much endeavor, you want to do all these things, you be a fish. Prabhupada was sarcastically commenting. Naturally, you'll be born as a fish or a dolphin, and then you will always, 24 hours, you'll be surfing. This is what will happen. Okay, so Prabhupada is making a mockery here. He's saying, human life is so important, so many things are to be learned. Neither in the school, college, educational institution, society, nothing of the sort. Just like a dog is also jumping, a man is also jumping. This is going on. But this is not civilization. Real civilization means these things are to be acquired in real life, personal life. Then that is civilization. Now these are mentioned one after another. So, Satyam, Shaucham, Daya, Shanti. Shanti, Styaga, Santosha, Arjavam. These are the qualities. Now these qualities we have to explain one after another. It will take time. So 3 qualities. Satyam, to become truthful. Truthful, they say, okay, please listen to this. They say this is a qualification of ass. That some big politician some years ago, he visited India, he is Mr. Lloyd George, British politician. So he was asked by somebody that, why you are not truthful? So he answered that truthfulness is a qualification of an ass. He replied like this, truthfulness, especially in politics, he said that in politics, truthfulness is a qualification of an ass. So here the first thing is recommended, Satyam, truthfulness. Satyam parang dhimahi. And the biggest politician says, this is the qualification of an ass. Just see how much opportunity we have got to make spiritual progress. The first beginning is Satyam, and our leader says, this is the qualification of an ass. So just see our position. And actually in the lecture, you can see another 2 or 3 times Prabhupada he was so, he was so disgusted with the way this politician has spoke this. 2 or 3 times he will again say, and our politician says, this is the qualification of an ass. And then he will be speaking something, and then he will again say, our politician says, this is the qualification of an ass. So he's making a mockery. You see your modern civilization, you see your modern leader. And this is the people you are following. The better you follow the great Bhagavatas. Okay, now one little bit for us to think. Now you see the quality, the Lord has got this quality, truthfulness. Similarly, we will also have this quality of truthfulness. Because the Lord has got this quality, we will have the quality also. Now, I was thinking, Prabhupada in the lecture, he speaks about the quality, and further he talks about what do you immediately think of? There are, Srila Prabhupada many times gives analogy of, he's comparing the Lord and the Jiva. And he gives prominent 3 analogies he gives. So I was just a little curious about it. I thought I could just discuss with you about it. He always, when the Lord and the Jiva, when he speaks about qualities, he discusses something. What he says, most of all the lectures and books he has written, you will see 3 prominent examples he gives.
Fire and spark. Ocean and drop.
Ocean and drop.
Drop.
Ocean and drop of water in the ocean. So he speaks about the quantity and quality, and fire and the spark, and one more thing we discuss. Yes, gold mine and the gold. Very, very consistently he discusses about this. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so here is another quality Prabhupada is speaking about. So the devotee must be clean inside and outside, both. Outside cleaning by taking bath. Many times you have heard this, but it's good to hear it again. Washing the body with oil or soap or soda, and inside materially there will be no unclean things. Stool, unnecessary stool. That means one must evacuate every morning and evening. Listen this. If we eat more, then we have to evacuate twice. But if we eat less, then one's evacuation is sufficient. It is said yogi, bhogi and rogi. Yogi means spiritually advanced and bhogi means materialistic. And rogi means disease. It is a common saying, a yogi evacuates only once, that is yogi. And bhogi, because he eats more, so he evacuates twice. And one who evacuates more than twice is rogi, diseased. Yogi, bhogi, rogi. So everything has got routine work. Shaucham. So you will feel healthy. If you have evacuated nicely, you have washed inside and outside, taken your bath, then you will feel always refreshed. And unless you feel refreshed, you cannot very nicely chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or serve Krishna. Therefore, cleanliness is required. Actually, sometimes I used to discuss with the small boys, that somehow you please develop a habit, you allow me to take class in the classes when we take class, So, you follow it in such a way that, you drink sufficient water. And then I told one or two boys also felt the same, that, you feel fresh when you do japa. You feel fresh and then you feel, it's a very practical thing. I was so moved when I just read this yesterday when Prabhupada spoke this. It was amazing. It's a simple thing, but it makes difference. You see where Prabhupada is boiling down this discussion to. He says that you will feel refreshed when you chant Hare Krishna. Right? You feel the burden has gone down. Okay. So that realization takes time. But when we are actually advancing in Krishna consciousness, we must know our duty. Sleeping not more than 6 hours. At most 8 hours. Prabhupada has given a sanction. At most 8 hours. No, I'll read the rest of the sentence, please. At most. Those who cannot control. At most. Those who cannot control. But not 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours. No. Then what is the use of? Somebody went to see one advanced devotee, and at 9 o'clock he was sleeping. And he's advanced devotee. Hey, is not that? So what kind of devotee is? Devotee must rise early in the morning, by 4 o'clock, by 5 o'clock. He must finish his bathing and other things. Then he takes to chanting and so on. 24 hours business must be there. So sleeping is not good. The Goswamis used to sleep only 2 hours. I also write at night book. And I also sleep not more than 3 hours. Prabhupada is very humble. He says, but I take sometimes a little sleep more. Not like, I don't imitate the Goswamis. That is not possible. But as far as possible, so everyone should try to avoid. And avoid sleeping means if we eat less, then we will avoid. Eating, sleeping. After eating, there is sleeping. So if we eat more, then more sleeping. If we eat less, then less sleeping. Eating, sleeping, mating. And mating should be avoided. That is a great stricture. Sex life should be minimized as far as possible. Therefore, we have got this restriction, no illicit sex. Sex life. We don't say that you cannot do, nobody can do. Therefore, sex life means married life, a little concession, a license. All right, you take this license, but not illicit sex. Then you will never be able. So eating, sleeping, mating and defending. And defending, we are defending so many ways. But still war is there. And the onslaught of material nature. Your country is defending so nicely. But now the petrol is taken away. You cannot defend. Similarly, everything can be taken away at any moment. So depend on Krishna for defending defenses. Avashya Rakibe Krishna. This is called surrender. Surrender means Krishna says that. You surrender unto me. Sarvadharman Parityajya. Let us believe this, that Krishna is asking to surrender. Let me surrender. He must protect me in danger. You see, if you devotee is speaking, Prabhupada could speak like this. You see how confident he was. He says, let me surrender. He must protect me in danger. Is that wrong to say that is surrender, he says. That is called surrender. Please make a note of this point. It's an amazing point. So Krishna, sometimes, somebody may say that, the anga of bhakti is that, you have confidence that Krishna will protect you. Okay. Now I am surrendering to Krishna, but for my defense I am making another arrangement. Then I have no faith in Krishna. If I believe in Krishna, then we must believe that Krishna will. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masucha. Believe satyam shauchyam daya shanti. Shanti means toleration. What is that? See shanti. Okay, here a nice point Prabhupada is making. Tyaga means to give in charity for others' benefit. That is called tyaga. So what is the best tyaga? When you give up everything, there is no question of such thing. You do your best but depend the result on Krishna. Many times we see people saying, no, you do your best, give the rest to God. Prabhupada is making a mockery here. He's saying that you do your best, but depend the result on Krishna. That is wanted. If somebody comes to attack you, you must also attack. You first attack, but you should not think that I am so powerful, I can gain victory over you. Depend on Krishna. Do your best. Yudhyasva mam anusmara. This is our policy. Now you listen. Prabhupada says, when there is question of fight, we have to fight. Just like in Bombay we fought. But the result, we depended on Krishna. We have come out victorious. There was no hope of getting that land. It was regular fight. The whole Bombay city became agitated. Yes, in Bombay. But we are victorious because we depended on Krishna. I thought, simply I pray to Krishna, my dear Lord, you are seated there on that place. If you are removed, then it will be suicidal. You must remain there. My only prayer was that I don't care for this land, but you are seated there. I cannot tolerate this insult that you will be removed from there. So Krishna saved our face. He is still remaining there. Srila Prabhupada ki. So we should be like that. We should fight to our best. Depend the result on Krishna. Don't try to take the credit for yourself. That is wanted. Anyway, so the elaboration by Prabhupada on these qualities. So we can see. So that Mother Bhumi, Dharani, she was pointing out all these great qualities that was seen in Krishna. And why she was pointing out all these qualities? Because all these qualities made Krishna so attractive. When you just think of him, when you remember any time, you are so surcharged because the Lord is the abode of all these wonderful qualities. Okay, so let's go to the next verse. Atmanam chanushocami bhavantam chamarotamam devan pitrin drishin sadhun sarvan varnam statashraman. I am thinking about myself and also, O best among the demigods, about you as well as about all the demigods, sages, denizens of Pitriloka, devotees of the Lord, and all men obedient to the system of Varna and Ashrama in human society. Prabhupada says, when God made Varnashrama Dharma, which is strictly meant for developing animal consciousness into human consciousness and human consciousness into godly consciousness, is broken by advancement of foolishness. The whole system of peaceful and progressive life is at once disturbed. In the age of Kali, the first attack of the venomous snake strikes against the God-made Varnashrama Dharma. And thus a person properly qualified as a Brahmana is called a Shudra. And a Shudra by qualification is passing as a Brahmana. All on a false birthright claim. Right? If somebody has, maybe someone would be Trivedi, Dvivedi, would have went to the Veda Parayana and he would be doing Purohita, and people look at him like he's some low class fellow. But one will be working as a software industry, will be in the software industry, will be a big manager, and they look at him like he is God. So exactly Prabhupada is saying that. So a Shudra is addressed as Brahmana, a Brahmana is addressed as Shudra. Asatyera Satya Korimani. The Narottam Das Thakur very clearly sings. That which is untruth is accepted as truth, and that which is truth is accepted as untruth. This is Kali Yuga. But the real qualification of Brahmana is to control the mind and the senses and to cultivate tolerance, simplicity, cleanliness, knowledge, truthfulness, devotion, and faith in the Vedic wisdom. In the present age, consideration of the necessary qualification is being neglected. Prabhupada is here pointing out heavily, saying that in the present age, consideration of the necessary qualification is being neglected, and the false birthright claim is being supported even by a popular, sophisticated poet, the author of Ramcharitamanas. There was one famous speaker. He went to the US. He's a follower of one coming in with Sampradaya. He was addressing many Sri Vaishnavas. He was saying that, okay, now you all came to the West. You please come back to India. Come back to India. There are so many Gradations. They are not protected. Nobody is there to worship properly. There's no Parayanam is going on. No Veda Parayanam is going on. No big programs are happening. You are all settled here. Now anyway, you came, you accumulated some wealth. Come back. So many, very nice. We attended the program. We are already watching your programs through Zoom, through the YouTube. We are happy with it. So you come back. Enough. Come back, and then now you expand this Krishna conscious culture. So that speaker was sharing it with one person that please. Many of them they don't want to come there. Some of them are settled down. Some of them are following nicely. But that's we need so many people from all kinds of backgrounds. That's why it's an emergency situation. Everything is dying. So that's why in ISKCON we see we are giving second initiation when we see that somebody is sufficiently qualified and who will take up that. He will engage in deity worship and he will mainly they'll be preachers. They'll go out and distribute his knowledge to others. Help people who are actually sinking into the deep dark well. Help the people from going to hell. Okay. Now, Mother Bhumi, she is now acknowledging how the great devotees felt the impression of the Lord and how she herself was so happy when the Lord was present in this earth. Lakshmi ji, the goddess of fortune, whose glance of grace was sought by demigods like Brahma and for whom they surrendered many a day unto the personality of Godhead, gave up her own abode in the forest of lotus flowers and engaged herself in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. So that was very nice. I'll just read the particular Sanskrit. Brahmadhayo bahutitam yadapanga moksha kamastapah samacharan bhagavat prapannaha. So she gave up all her own ideas. She just came completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord. Sa Shri Swavasama Vanam Vihaya Yatpada Saubhagam Alam Bhajate Nurakta. So she came, took shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. Tasyaham Abja Kulishankushaketu Ketaihi Srimat Padhair Bhagavata Smala Kritangi Trin Atyarocha Upalabhya Tato Vibhuting Lokan Samam Vyasrajad Utsmayatim Tadante. Okay. Now, Bhumi, she is saying, I was endowed with specific powers to supersede the fortune of all the three planetary systems by being decorated with the impressions of the flag, thunderbolt, elephant driving rod, and lotus flower, which are the signs of the lotus feet of the Lord. But at the end, when I felt I was so fortunate, the Lord left me. So she says for her, the earth was not all a burden because she was all the time, whenever the Lord was walking, his lotus imprints were giving her such a pleasure. When the Lord left, she became very much dejected. The beauty and see in this purport there are some amazing points. The beauty and opulence of the world can be enhanced by the grace of the Lord and not by any man-made planning. This is an interesting point, no? Prabhupada is making. The man will come up with so many sophisticated gadgets, buildings, technologies, all big things, and one corona has swept everything. He is a big failure. But when there is a grace of the Lord, everything is very auspicious, which in detail we saw in Kunti's prayers. Right? What she says? Can you please give it loud? Swalakshana vilakshitaihi, then Supaupa Aushadhi. So everything is by the Lord's lotus imprints. Everything we are getting it in. Everything we are getting in profuse. The Mother Earth was producing everything. All the auspiciousness was available because of the Lord's presence. So, already Kunti Maharani acknowledged that, and here also Mother Earth is speaking about that. Okay. One may ask, now please listen, look into this discussion. Prabhupada in the purport is addressing the point that the grace of the Lord, it should be, we require the grace of the Lord. So now he just takes the discussion further. One may ask how we can detain the Supreme Lord on this earth after his mission is fulfilled and he has left this earth for his own abode. So it's better to detain the Lord, no? What do you think about it? Is it good to detain the Lord here? The Lord left to Goloka, but it would have been better, no, if the Lord was detained here. What is your view on this? Detained means you are supposed to go to the third standard, but you are detained and you are in the second standard. You are kept behind. That means that instead of allowing the Lord to go to Goloka, he could have been just been here, and we would have been extremely benefited. Right? What do you say? Did you read the purport? The answer is there, the purport.
He will be here, then also you can't perceive him.
No, already he is everywhere.
Prabhupada says, why we have to detain the Lord for our purpose. But the Lord is already there, already is present. Now you see the discussion, what Prabhupada says. The answer is that there is no need to detain the Lord. The Lord being omnipresent can be present with us if we want Him at all. By His omnipresence, He can always be with us if we are attached to His devotional service. By hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. There is nothing in the world from which the Lord is disconnected. The only thing we must learn is to excavate the source of connection and thus be linked with Him by offenseless service. You see, this is the point. If we are engaged in offenseless service, it could be chanting, it could be physical service, it could be doing anything for the Lord, then we are connected with the Lord 24 hours a day. Prabhu easily sees to say, Prabhu, but yeah, there's no but. That's what we are expected to do that. We are expected to raise to that standard. We can be connected with Him by the transcendental sound representation of the Lord. Now there is another amazing point here that we can see is that offenseless service, the service begins with hearing. Okay, now the verse says hearing and Atas Sri Krishna Namadina Bhavet Grahim Indriya Sevon Mukehi Jigvadau Swayam Eva Sprutvidaha. So the service begins with the also what Yama says, Yama Dharmaraj, what he says. What is the famous verse? Tannama Granadibihi. How does that verse begin? Tannama Yetavan Yetavan Eva Lokesmin Pumsad Dharma Parasmrutaha Bhakti Yoge Bhagavati Tannama Granadibihi. Now he says that, the religion, the devotion begins with the chanting of the holy names. That's the beginning of the religious practice. And also, this famous verse of Atas Sri Krishna Namadi also says that the Lord will reveal Himself when we engage in His service with our tongue. Sevon Mukehi, in that spirit. So, exactly in that terms, Prabhupada is speaking on this purport. Please pay attention. We can be connected with Him by the transcendental sound representation of the Lord. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord Himself are identical. And one who chants the holy name of the Lord in an offenseless manner can at once realize that the Lord is present before him. How many of us are taking serious steps to do that? The Lord is the most, many times this is specifically as practitioners of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, if you are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers, we have to, this is not only for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers, this works for anybody, but we have to somehow or other pay our attention to offenseless chanting. In fact, all our practices we should be focused on that. We should be able to chant offenselessly. We should engage in Sankirtan, then together we chant enthusiastically, we should sing. And also when we chant japa. So somehow we are not taking it seriously. If we take this japa very consciously, very seriously, it's not a one-time affair, it's a whole package. Everything, all our day-to-day, right from morning to night, whatever that we do, everything impacts our japa. So offenseless Prabhupada, why we are discussing so much about this? Because so much Prabhupada is emphasizing in this purport about this. He says that in that way the Lord can be detained. Or detained means what? The Lord is with us, He didn't go anywhere. Where is the question of detaining? Only when somebody has gone somewhere you will have detained. No, but the Lord is present. Just He is present in wherever the names are very great affection and love. Somebody without any offensive chance, Krishna is present there. Even by the vibration of radio sound, even by little shock, radio sound, we can partially realize the presence of what is related to the sound. And by resounding the sound of transcendence, we can verily feel the presence of the Lord. In this age, when everything is polluted by the contamination of Kali, it is instructed in the scriptures and preached by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can at once be free from contamination. Now, let's look into this statement again. Very amazing statement Prabhupada is given here. We can partially realize the presence of what is related to the sound. And by resounding the sound of transcendence, we can verily feel the presence of the Lord. So how do we feel the presence of the Lord? By that pure sound vibration. What happened? What happened when Srila Prabhupada went to when he was sitting under the Tompkins Square Park? What happened? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada's pure chanting, it really had impact on people. He was a pure devotee, so he could create that impact. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was passing through the Jharkhand forest, can we imagine that all the deers, the tigers, they were all together dancing and singing the holy name? How is it possible? One devotee told me that when they were studying in their college, they were just he was saying that they were a little curious. So what they did, they went and then they were trying to go and then sing Hare Krishna in the ear of a dog. See what will happen. And the dog ran away. So the point was that the pure devotee, Supreme Lord himself, he came in the form of a devotee. And he could create that impact. So the purity, and the Lord is present in the name. No difference between the Lord and himself. Okay, please listen to this point. The offenseless chanters of the holy name of the Lord are as auspicious as the Lord himself. And the movement of such pure devotees of the Lord all over the world can at once change the troublesome face of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada did that. And very humbly he is writing here. The offenseless chanters of the holy name of the Lord are as auspicious as the Lord himself. Tirti kurvanti tirtani santastena gatabrutaha. So they carry Krishna with them. Krishna is there with them. So you remember, Prabhupada said that I was never without my spiritual master. I was always, my spiritual master was with me. So that was his faith. Pure devotee, what a confidence with which he is speaking. How clear he is. How he could just see the presence of the Lord. He could see Krishna. Never there was a moment he forgot Krishna. So that powerful impact it created. Only by the propagation of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord can we be immune from all effects of the age of Kali. So there are thousands and thousands of things we can discuss about pure holy name and chanting. But I just was a little inspired to see one nice verse from Mukundamala Stotra. So I would like to just emphasize that how powerful is this holy name. I don't know the pakka meter to chant this, but at least I will just read it normally. Yesterday was Shatruchedaika mantram sakalam upanishad vakya sampujya mantram samsarocheda mantram samchita samasah sanga niryana mantram sarvaishwaryaika mantram vyasana bhujaga sandashta santrana mantram Jigve Sri Krishna mantram japa japa satatam janma sapalya mantram. O tongue, please constantly chant the mantra composed of Sri Krishna's names. This is the only mantra for destroying all enemies. The mantra worshipped by every word of the Upanishads. The mantra that uproots samsara. The mantra that drives away all the darkness of ignorance. The mantra for attaining infinite opulence. The mantra for curing those bitten by the poisonous snake of worldly distress. And the mantra for making one's birth in this world successful. Cheto dharpanamarjanam bhavamaha dhavagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vitranam vidyavadu jivanam anandang buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna sankirtanam. Only by the propagation of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord can we immune from all effects of Kali. All effects of the age of Kali. So immune means what? So vaccination. What vaccination is required? We have to chant the holy name. What Narada Muni says in this regard? Little recap. Famous verse he says. Association of devotees. Then? What is the shloka? I'm just looking for a very nice shloka. You all memorize it, but some of you wrote an exam also. Exam is over, shloka is over. I am free from all anxieties. The verse says that you want to become free from anxieties, then you have to do this. Prabhuji, already we are free from anxieties, you are chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll give you a clue. Hari Charyanu Varnanam. How does it begin? Oh, this much clue I gave. Hari Charyanu Varnanam. The verse begins, completes like that. Oh, maybe you didn't learn that verse, I think. I also forgot. Etad Yutara Chittanam. How do you go? So he says at the end that Hari Charyan Varnanam, that by hearing about the glories of Lord Hari, Etad Dyutari Chittanam, that this chitta which is full of anxieties, you will be able to overcome that. Right? Okay, let's look at that verse. Here you go. Etad Dhyatura Chittanam Matra Sparshe Chayamuhu Bhavasindu Plavo Drashto Hari Charyan Varnam. It is personal experience by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to destroying contact of the senses with their objects. So when senses are in contact with sense objects, the result is anxiety. So the best solution is that you can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat. Constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. See, some of you wrote some other verse for that, and I said I was looking for this verse. You remember? Probably I didn't stress, but I've learned this verse. Okay, let's come back to this. O personality of religion, I was greatly overburdened by the undue military phalanxes arranged by atheistic kings, and I was relieved by the grace of the personality of God. Similarly, you were also in a distressed condition, weakened in your standing strength, and thus he also incarnated by his internal energy in the family of the Yadus to relieve you. The Asuras want to enjoy a life of sense gratification, even at the cost of others' happiness. So Prabhupada says that by the increase of the Asuric population, religious principles are hampered. The result that all the people of the world, especially the devotees of Devas, become unhappy to see the anomalies of the Asuric civilization of self-aggrandizement. So here he says that yes, the Lord knew the entire situation. That's why he descended and he vanquished all the Asuras. So she acknowledged that. So this was a discussion. And after this, exactly now, what is happening? Now, okay, one more verse. She speaks about how so she explained about all these great qualities, and they said, who can therefore tolerate the pangs of separation from the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He could conquer the gravity and passionate wrath of his sweethearts like Satyabhama by his sweet smile of love, pleasing glance and hearty appeals. When he traversed my earth's surface, I would be immersed in the dust of his lotus feet, and thus would be sumptuously covered with grass, which appeared like hair standing on me out of pleasure. So she was in ecstasy. Wherever Krishna was walking, there was grass. And she's saying that great personalities like Satyabhama, she gets so much angry. She herself also is captivated. So it is said that Krishna's talk, his smile, it's very captivating. Even if Krishna does something where it may, for the devotees in higher rasa, when they have pain, but still they will never be able to give up Krishna because of his glorious, wonderful qualities. Okay, so in this situation, what happens when this kind of discussion is going on? Parikshit arrives there, and he's going to question the Kali, and we will be seeing in the next chapter further discussions that will happen. Okay, we will stop here. Any questions or comments? Any realizations? So just to remind what we saw today, we did discuss about specifically the symptoms of Kali. What are all the major symptoms in Kali Yuga that we see? That was very clearly pointed out by Dharma. And then we also saw what is the result of the modern day education, what is happening with the children, what is happening with the husband and wife, what is happening with the parents, what is the effect of it. And then also we also saw the discussion of how the Brahmanas are in inappropriate position, they even are ready to take up lower jobs. And another important discussion that we felt, what was that? What was another important theme of discussion we were having? Anybody can think about it? Qualities. Why the qualities were discussed? Why is she speaking about the qualities?
Because these all things were present in Krishna.
Yeah. Why she has to speak about Krishna at all?
Because two main reasons of becoming distressed.
Because of the absence of the Supreme Lord. The Lord would have got separated. And another important point that we could learn from this episode is how to feel the presence of the Lord. There's no need to detain the Lord, but how to feel the presence of the Lord by offenseless service, Prabhupada says, and service begins with the chanting of the holy name. Specifically, Prabhupada discusses about offenseless chanting. Correct? Anything else you want to say? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.